Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and people of all binaries, I'm Wolfgang Wilcox, your friend from the UK, welcoming you back to Not for Broadcast's The Timeloop. Bozeman has finally got it through his thick fucking head that the solution to our problem is the combination, and that we need to get Professor Magnus to talk about it. After 80 fucking minutes of this. Right, let's go. The Fool.
I can't deny
Are these all named after tarot cards?
For a man whose brand is being right, he's got a very poor success rate.
I've told you 1,000 times, Chester. It's the number of blind dates I've been on when no one's turned up, followed by the worrying number of lumps under my left arm, the date my childhood sweetheart married my best friend, the age my cat was when I ran him over, the number of conversations I've had with my father, and the exact
Not easy working for big science, is it?
Oh, no, it's me. I'm afraid I have trouble remembering impossibly convoluted things.
Like science, eh?
No.
I'm sorry. Who are you?
Dr. Magnus, this is Alan James. If you could both take a seat, please. The host will be with you shortly.
Not you.
Sorry, Dr. Magnus.
Big science, mate.
Oh, God, not in this time.
Not who? Oh, God.
Look, I'm not happy about it either.
Jeremy
Me
Dawson.
neither.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, I got it first. Mr. James,
Nice to be back.
at least one of us.
Sorry, I'm late. Poison smoothie. Dr. Magnus.
Nice to meet you.
Both of you this time, eh? I hope you've come ready.
10 seconds.
You do know this isn't the news, don't you? Has anyone told Mr. James this?
5, 4, 3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Dawson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 13th of March, 1985, and this is a Channel 1 special event hosted by your national nightly news team.
In a laboratory nestled in the sleepy hills of Chintlebury, Dr. Charles Magnus and his optimistically named Happiness Collective have been working on a secret project.
Absolutely nothing suspicious about that.
They claim their Euphoria device will raise overall happiness levels throughout the country. Tonight, live on Channel 1, we'll be putting that claim to the test.
Without your consent.
We'll be in and out of the schedule throughout the evening, with our very loud special guest to report live on whether the device has brought a smile to your faces.
Or locked it into a rictus grin.
It's popular commentator, conspiracist, and entertainer, Alan James.
So don't move that dial. Stick with Channel 1 all evening as we bring you The Night of Smiles.
We probably don't need to watch these, Alex. Let's get back to the studio here, Alex. We don't want to miss anything important.
An exhaust.
More of a mechanic then.
Well, when I say he ran...
My God, that sounds awful. Do you really have to listen to that every day, Alex? Let's just turn off the audience monitoring for now. We don't want to have that going off every time.
Dad was devastated. Had to read all the signage. What was your dad like?
Hard to say. I've got more PhDs than I've had conversations with him.
Oh, me too.
10 seconds.
You have PhD?
No, a shitty dad.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. In just a few minutes, the impressive machine behind me will be activated in the first ever mass test of its type. So let's meet the man behind the merriment, Dr. Charles Magnus.
And inexplicably sat next to him is controversial speaker and columnist, and I believe now a best-selling author, Alan James.
Sales have been great, Jeremy. I'm as surprised as you are.
Probably a mix-up with the counting.
And yes, a sequel is on the way. In fact, I have the first proof copy right here. Okay. There seems to have been some sort of mix-up with the measurements. Yeah, that's hard to read, that.
Well, let's turn to the man of the moment, shall we? Dr. Charles Magnus.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I'm lucky enough to work with an amazing team.
In a secret lab somewhere deep underground?
No, in Chintlebury, near the supermarket.
Where does your funding come from, so-called Dr. Magnus?
A valid question.
Well, prior to last year, we relied mainly on charitable donations, but since Advance came to power, we...
Or as I call them in my new book,
Alan James is right here.
the corrupteers. Like, corrupt puppeteers. See?
Well, pretty much disregarding all of that, the Assets and Wealth Science program gave us the means to get to tonight in a fraction of the time it would have taken otherwise.
And what did you have to do in return for all that lovely funding?
I beg your pardon?
I have been
Oh, I
doing
should have rang the
my
bell
own
on the
research,
PhDs
so-called
thing,
Dr.
shouldn't I?
Magnus, and this
Stupid.
experiment is dangerous.
All science involves risk.
You're messing with the structure of reality. I've been doing my own research and...
We are at the forefront of a
haven't.
new technology. This is how breakthroughs happen. This is how science works.
Well, what if what you call science is all a big lie? What if there's something more? Something bigger than science?
You can't get bigger or smaller than science, Mr. James. Science isn't a thing. It has no mass. It is simply a set of tools to understand everything.
What is the real purpose of your happiness device?
To make people happier.
And what if we don't want to be happier? What if we want to spread our misery to others?
Well, how is that different than what I'm doing?
Mass don't help him.
You're running mass tests of an experiment that could literally alter us all. We didn't sign up for this. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. It's way too reckless.
Well, look, there's less than a minute now to go. So while we go and get set up with Chester and yourself, Doctor, over at the Euphoria device, we can go live now to the new Advance HQ for a special message from the Prime Ministers, Peter Clement and Julia
Don't we
Salisbury.
dare.
The corrupt masters.
Yeah, we're off air, Alan. It's just...
Oh.
Okay, so that's about a minute back. If we could get you all over to the device now, please.
I hope you didn't mind me calling you so-called Dr. Magnus back there.
Well, I did rather. I do have 3 PhDs.
3.
Oh, hello.
Like a lot? Is it a lot? What actually are they, anyway?
They mean I do my own research.
Like me, you mean?
Hello again. Chester Mims, 24. My favourite foods are mashed potato, glacé cherries, and cat treats.
Alan James. I think for me it's probably trifle,
10 seconds.
aubergines, and bone marrow.
We're friends now.
Right you are.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Fantastic, the Prime Minister's there, and of course, without the assets and wealth funding...
We wouldn't be about to break the space-time continuum.
Honestly, how would we know? It's been broken for me for years.
I think we can get a counter on the screen. There, and we're going in 10, 9, 8, 7, come on, Jeremy.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not sure we managed to get all the clues there, Winston.
We do know that the conversations with the dad is at maximum 2. So if we click the button now, it's... There we go. It's been added, good. Right. Where's the bloody navigator gone now? I can't fucking see anything. Oh, is that locked in because I pressed cross now? Fuck's sake. Guess we're having another loop with Alan James then. Fucking fabulous.
I've told you.
I worry if we have to stay with Mr. James too long, we're going to end up drinking the leaf juice. Let's get what we need and leave him to it.
Lumps under my left arm, the date my childhood sweetheart married my best friend, the age my cat was when I ran him over,
Will
the
you
number of
select the
conversations I've
fucking
had
card?
with my father, and the exact
Not easy
time
working for big science, is it?
Oh, no.
That man, well, you didn't even ding the bell once. What a waste of time that was.
Okay, Crazy Neil. The Entrepreneur. So it's not all
For a
tarot
man who
cards then.
supposedly has a business empire to run, he was surprisingly available at short notice. He's very spontaneous, Alex, so hopefully he takes us in a helpful direction.
I've told you 1,000 times, Chester. It's the number of blind dates I've been on when no one's turned up, followed by the worrying number of lumps under my left arm.
Here, yes indeed. It's Crazy Neil here with the scientific deal of the year. Yeah.
Mr. Neil, so glad you could join us. If you could please sit with Dr. Magnus on the sofa, the host will be with you shortly.
I'll just leave this device here next to this other one, shall I?
Sorry, Mr. Mims, but it's going to be a bit of a squash to get you on the sofa.
Oh, that's fine. We don't need him until the experiment starts. But this device...
Leave that alone, please, Colin.
What's this one do?
God knows it just showed up.
Fascinating. What's fascinating?
Inability to express my true feelings if my love is to be believed.
What's fascinating is how we can offer such quality products at such low prices. Good to see you again, Mr. Donaldson.
Thank goodness we have two equally qualified guests, Mr. Neil.
Call me Crazy Neil.
Let's say no for now.
This is Dr. Charles Magnus.
Another equally skilled salesperson if the reports on your funding levels are to be believed. Jeremy Dawson, professional.
Charles Magnus, impervious to skepticism.
There's no need for skepticism, Jeremy, just the ability to spot a great deal.
Right, of course.
Sorry, I'm late. Flard exploded. Professor Magnus.
Dr. Magnus, apparently.
Either is fine.
And Mr. Neil.
Crazy Neil! When you live the crazy like I do, it's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. Yeah!
Of course it is. Amazing.
10 seconds, everybody.
Try not to buy anything.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Dawson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 13th of March, 1985, and this is a Channel 1 special event hosted by your national nightly news team and special guests.
That's right. We're joined tonight by a well-renowned scientist and a salesman.
That should say captain of industry.
It does. I amended it on the fly.
The first, fresh from his laboratory in Chintlebury, is Dr. Charles Magnus, head of the Happiness Collective, who claims his Euphoria device will raise overall happiness levels throughout the country.
And our other guest is a man who wears the title of Crazy with Pride and once tried to sell me a self-freezing toaster. I'm still not sure why I would want one, but anyway, it's Crazy Neil.
Yes, indeed. I'm bringing the appliance of science at an unbelievable price.
So don't go away. Stick with Channel 1 all evening as we bring you
The Night of Smiles.
We probably don't need to watch these,
I'd
Alex.
like to introduce our guests before they speak, Mr.
There
Neil.
will be plenty of time to talk when we come back from the titles.
Yeah, speaking of that, when will I get a chance to introduce my device so our viewers can compare the two?
Sorry, his device? What's this now?
Sales. Sorry, Dr. Magnus, did Mr. Bozeman not explain to you that when he invited Mr. Neil on...
Crazy Neil.
sorry. Yes, when Mr. Crazy Neil was invited to come onto the show, he brought his own device as an alternative.
You can't be serious. I mean, this is preposterous. I've spent years researching and planning for tonight. Countless hours given up, opportunities ignored, friends lost, lumps that probably should have been checked, and this senseless charlatan is attempting to plagiarize my entire life's work.
You will have plenty of time to make your case, Dr. Magnus.
Back in 10.
It's just... I can't believe it.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. In just a few minutes, one of the impressive machines behind me will be activated in the first ever mass experiment of its type. But first, let's meet the men behind these multiple merriment machines, Dr. Charles Magnus and Crazy Neil.
Hello, hey, hola, buongiorno. Hi there, Crazy Neil with the best happiness device around. And it's an unreal steal of a deal.
Hello.
Thank you both for joining us. Mr. Neil, let's start with you.
Crazy. When you live the crazy like I do, Mr. Donaldson, it's a lifestyle, not a brand.
Of course. Mr. Neil, you've come here today with, what did you call it again?
Crazy Neil's joyous jubilation contraption. You won't find better out there. No, sir.
What exactly does it do?
Well, you see, you press this button, and your greatest dreams, your ultimate happiness, your true bliss, they all come true.
Wow, that's quite the device there. And you say you made it last night?
Yes, ma'am. I saw the show being advertised, and I said I wasn't going to be outdone by no buffing in a lab coat. No offense, brainbox. So I got together with the current Mrs. Crazy Neil, ex-Mrs. Neil's 1 through 3, 5 and 6.
Wow, that's quite the team. And they all happily work together with you?
Well, other than number 4, we're all on speaking terms. Number 5 is the director of a national space program.
So, do tell us, how does it actually work?
Yes, I'd be very curious to know.
I can't give that away, I'm afraid. Otherwise, we'll have knockoff Crazy Neils springing up everywhere.
How very convenient.
Agreed. So let's turn to you, Dr. Magnus. What's the name of your device?
Okay, so it's my turn, is it? About time. I'll have another lump after this, no wonder. They're put on by unnecessary stress. So, the Happiness Collective is a team of highly qualified professional scientists and engineers from a multitude of institutions and disciplines, and we have curated the Euphoria device, a real scientific breakthrough that will revolutionize contentment in this nation and eventually the wider world.
Well, an equally ambitious claim there. How long did it take your exceptional team to get this all started?
Years, obviously. In the world of actual science, proper processes need to be followed to ensure safety. Standards need to be adhered to at each iteration, and
Absolutely, whereas you did yours last night.
And this is why business is always giving science a wedgie. We give the people what they need, when they need it. And that's a Crazy Neil guarantee.
How does your device work, Doctor?
well, obviously some of that information is proprietary.
See? Convenient.
I'll try and explain the basics as simply as possible.
As simple as getting a crazy deal.
Everything is vibration. Everything is vibrating. A particle is also a wave.
But
and
you can wave goodbye to expensive flights with Crazy Neil's bathroom, surfer, ocean wave machine. When the beach comes to you, may cause electrocution.
A wave is, if you like, a note, and we all vibrate at different notes depending on our mood. Happier people vibrate at a higher frequency than sad people, for example.
I know my wife is always happier when she's vibrating, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I give up.
I understand, Dr. Magnus. Thank you. Megan?
Yes, well, there is only a minute or two to go now, so while we go and get set up with the devices, let's go and head on live to the new Advance HQ for a special message from the Prime Ministers, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury.
Okay, we've got about a minute. Lovely stuff. If we could get you all over to the devices now, please.
So who won?
Sorry?
Well, you're going to start up my device, or Brainbox is here.
I think, Mr. Neil, while it's been very entertaining having you on the show, we're probably going to go with Dr. Magnus's device.
sanity at last. Chester.
Yes, Dr. Magnus.
It looks like Nickel and Copper might have brought a little friend. Let's get another dermatologist appointment for next week, shall we?
You did. That's straight away. Let's invite Zinc along to the party.
Please don't make light of my numbering system. Just book the fucking appointment.
What's he charging you for this bucket of bolts?
10
Whatever
seconds.
it is, I'll half the cost.
You fundamentally misunderstood this. 5 seconds. Push.
Magnus numbers his lumps by the periodic table. Nickel and copper. Shit.
Right button. 3, 2.
Didn't expect it to be that fucking complicated.
Fantastic. The Prime Minister's there.
Who are, of course, responsible in so many ways for what we're witnessing tonight.
So who's going to get their butt pressed?
Well, I'm personally obviously sure that they'd both prove equal value to society,
I tell
but
you
I
what,
think we're probably...
I'll give you your first press for free.
No!
Oh, well, that ain't right, huh?
Please. Listen. Much better to leave these things to the professionals.
No, I think there's more we can do here.
Right. Magnus numbers his lumps by the periodic table, huh? So, if I just look it up real quick. So, worrying lumps. Nickel is 28, copper is 29. What the fuck does that mean for this exactly? If they're getting a friend, then that means the next one along is Zinc. So 30?
I can see where you're coming from, but the machine says it's not right. We must be missing some information.
Not 30. And it can't be the other number because that's 65.4. It's in the 12th row, so... Shall we try 12? No. Never mind then. Okay, what's next in the Rolodex?
I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. Just to be clear, Winston, I hate him.
Mm-hmm. But we've got to try everybody, mate. Right. Once more into the breach. the nobody.
Algebra. I swore I'd never let him back on television. Curse this improbable scenario for making a liar of Bob Bozeman.
I've told you 1,000 times, Chester. It's the number of blind dates I've been on when no one's turned up, followed by the worrying number of lumps under my left arm, the date my childhood sweetheart married my best friend.
Sounds like my life. Hello, Jeff Algebra. You must be Charles. Bob Bozeman's told me all about you.
If you could just sit here, please, gentlemen. The host will be with you shortly.
Not you, Chester.
Sorry, Dr. Magnus.
Do you mind if I call you Charles?
Actually, I prefer Excuse me, what are you doing?
Leave that alone, please, Colin.
Oh, Christ. Seriously, they must be desperate.
Who must?
They must be desperate.
You have no idea.
Whoever is, if you believe my mother. Jeremy, this is Dr. Charles Magnus, and I believe you remember Jeff Algebra.
The drama teacher?
Sorry, I'm late. Nubbin removal.
Was he annoying teenager?
Actually, I'm a maths teacher.
Wonderful. In that case, you're overqualified for this dumb show.
Maths teacher, and of course, soon to be biographer. Hey, Charlie.
5, 4, 3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 13th of March, 1985, and this is a Channel 1 special event hosted by your national nightly news team.
In a laboratory nestled in the sleepy hills of Chittlebury, Dr. Charles Magnus and his optimistically named Happiness Collective
Is that Chintler with an I or a Y?
have been working on a secret project.
They claim their Euphoria device will raise overall happiness levels throughout the country. Tonight, live on Channel 1, we'll be putting that claim to the test.
We're delighted, it says here, to welcome the project lead, Dr. Charles Magnus, for some inexplicable reason, a maths teacher.
And biographer.
What are you talking about?
We'll have reporters the length and breadth of the country, and of course those all-important results.
So don't move that dial. Stick with Channel 1 all evening as we bring you
The Night of
Smiles.
45 seconds back.
Sorry, Jeff, you know you're not meant to be saying that line.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Megan.
Yeah.
I got carried away. It's only my second time on TV, you know.
You can barely tell.
Both times with you, actually. You're like my lucky charm. Angela will get jealous.
She needn't.
And, of course, I'll be back when the show's done. Bob's promised me that this afternoon.
Bob. Sorry, you mean Robert Bozeman?
Yes. Yes, he's hired me to write a 4-part TV dramatisation of the life of this chap right here.
Me? Well, I haven't consented to
seconds.
this.
Apparently you have. Check your contract.
I do love a bit of fine print.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. In just a few minutes, the impressive machine behind me will be activated in the first ever mass experiment of its type. But before we begin the bliss, let's meet our guests, Dr. Charles Magnus and his official biographer, Jeff Algebra.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to be back, Megan.
A big day for you. You must be feeling overwhelmed, I imagine.
Christ, yes. Do you know, I had to jump in a taxi straight after the Year 10 Drama Club just to get here today, so all in all, I'd say it is pretty bloody thrilling.
I think she was talking to the doctor.
Oh, yes. Of course. Sorry.
Dr. Magnus, an exciting day.
Well, yes, it is, after all, the apex of my life's endeavour.
Oh, cracking stuff. Apex of my endeavour. Cracking.
Quite a daunting task you've undertaken.
Yeah, do you know what? I thought so too. But I was pacing around in that little holding area you have for guests through there.
The green room.
No, it's just sort of pinky purple. Anyway, I was pacing around in there asking myself, what have I got in common with a great big brain box like Chaz here?
Please don't touch me.
But how does a numbskull like me connect with a chuffing genius like the Chancellor?
I really don't like either of those names.
But then we were talking before the show.
Were we?
And he told me a story from his life, and I realised that this genius and
What story is
we're
this?
the same.
I don't like talking about myself.
You see, when I was 16, there was only one girl that I wanted to invite to the school dance. Angela Angular, the joiner's girl. Now, everyone in the village loved Angela because she had the sweetest heart and back then a working spine, see? My best friend in them days was Gareth Major Minor, whose dad was an army trumpeter. Gareth and Angela had been dating for a few months, and things were going very well for them. But I was lonely, see?
I'm not sure what this has to do with my life.
Ah, well, Gareth confided in me that he'd been having some trouble in the bedroom department. Performance anxiety, probably. We were all young, after all.
God, I have just been sick in my mouth.
Well,
actually.
I was an ambitious fellow, like the Chuckmeister here. So what I did was... What I did was, I convinced Angela that the reason for Gareth's disappointing nocturnal activity... This is still brilliant. I convinced her that he was gay, see?
Nonsense.
Wow.
I know, right? Pretty damn clever. Anyway, she bought it, and not only did she go to the dance with me, but she's been my wife this last 14 years, the first 6 of which were really excellent.
You do know you're on television, don't you, Jeff?
Yes. Sorry, I am trying to keep it brief. My point is that exactly the same thing happened to Dr. Magnus here. We're like reflections of each other. So, to answer your original question, yeah?
Which was clearly meant for the Doctor.
Yes, it is daunting to try and capture the complexities of this brilliant man in 4 short hours of TV drama, less when you allow for the adverts. But you see, I've got a hook to start from, a place of truth, because we're so similar, Chip and I.
This is outrageous.
Outrageous fortune.
Don't even know this, man. We are in no way like... I thought we were here to talk about the machine.
No one cares about the science. It's all about the human story.
Well, perhaps we could just try and talk about what we're choosing to call the science for just a moment.
Sorry, Jeremy, there is no time, I'm afraid. We're going to have to go live now to Advance's brand new headquarters for a special message of goodwill from the Prime Ministers. Let's go to that now.
Okay, that's a minute back. Can we get everyone to the machine?
Oh, yes. Hey, maybe we should push the button together, Charlie?
Actually, that's...
No one cares about you. It's all about Chuck and me. 2 peas in a pod, making history together.
Listen to me, you stupid twat. We are not 2 peas in a pod. We are nothing alike. You did something truly awful and stole your best friend's girlfriend, whereas I
Not likely, Alex.
my childhood sweetheart marry my best friend on the 5th anniversary of my father's death. So, in your story, I'd be Gareth. Do you see? Gareth, who you fucked over for your narcissistic enjoyment. You're a pathetic excuse for a human being.
Ah. Right you are. I think I might have got the wrong end of the stick.
Looks that way, doesn't it?
So I'm not pushing the button?
No.
We're live.
Yes, fantastic. That was the Prime Minister's there. And, of course, without the assets and wealth funding...
Yeah,
you
well,
see-
I'd still be teaching
Yes.
quite... Not me again, White.
You're Chester.
Chester Mims, 24. My party tricks include close-up card magic, playing the banjo, and no gag reflex.
Oh, good list.
And you'll be pressing this big button for us and starting the experiment, is that correct?
Yes. One man shall push a button and the rest of mankind shall smile. That's Mims with 2 M's.
Well, I think we can get a counter on the screen now.
And 1 M at the beginning, please.
We're going in 10,
So 3 then.
9, 8,
7,
6,
5,
Come on.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Tragic marriage date, the 5th anniversary of his father's death. So how in the fuck are we gonna get him to talk about that?
I think we got everything we need from that sequence. Capital. The soul of a warrior in the body of a weeping willow. I have all her works on VHS.
But But before we do that, I'm going to have to end this episode here. We will see the not quite late Miss Boatshoe in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and good night out there, whatever you are.